This week I learned there's nothing like getting sick that'll help you easily eat some crow. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update as we're coming up to the end of the month of April here. So some fun things going on this week. It was not a very fun week for me, and we'll get into that as we go along here. But we're going to begin like usual, guys. We're going to talk about what am I reading. Yes, I did get a stomach bug, and I was kind of floored for most of the week. So that provided more reading time, given that I could stay awake. But I did finish Fever Dream by George R.R. Martin. This is my first book outside of the world of Ice and Fire by George. He does have someone pointed out, I missed it, that he does have a nice little line about fire and blood in there. So I guess I don't know how that one flew past me, honestly. But the first third of this, I was kind of like, And let me explain. I'm a big Anne Rice fan, Vampire Chronicles, for the, first part of it. But the first third of this, all I was saying like, this is feeling a lot like, yeah, George, I read Interview with the Vampire too. I was really feeling that. I was also like, okay, I know a lot more about steamboats than I ever thought I was going to know. But you get to a point in here where the character of York is telling his backstory. And from that moment until the end, I did not put the book down. So it was really a very back-heavy book. And it's one of those where you could look at it and say, yeah, you could see here this guy was going to be something phenomenal. And obviously his writing is just as great as ever. He does continue to write a character into the book that I think might have been him writing himself into the book in the case of Marsh. And, of course, describing food like no one else seems to be able to do. But a very good vampire book. I thought it had some unique spin on some of the things where it's very close to, Stoker Dracula, Stoker vampires. I'm trying to think of like, what does he call them in Dresden Files? He just calls them Stoker when there's different kinds of Draculas, different kinds of vampires. But it's hard for me to say Bram Stoker and not want to say Dracula right after. But he had some interesting twists on a couple of things with the old traditional Bram Stoker lore. But I really did enjoy what he did here, and I very high recommend if you're just looking for something to kind of cleanse the palate. This is perfect. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. Like I said, it does start a little slow, but it is worth your investment for sure. I had a good time with it. My other back-to-back palate cleanser was The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon by Mr. Stephen King. You might have heard of him. Think he's got a bright future. Quick read. Again, I think this just kind of re-solidifies my opinion that the woods are scary. Guys, woods were scary before the Blair Witch Project. You guys remember that? Remember? Blair Witch phenomenon was something, wasn't it? But anyway, it seems like everybody just goes to that now when they talk about the scary things in the woods. With me in this book I like there is some kind of some mini tie-in into Pet Sematary. You kind of blink and you'll miss it. But I do think that this was a very good book. And it's one of those that leaves you asking a lot of questions about what was actually happening. What is this character, with pneumonia? Was she hallucinating? She did eat some things in the forest, because she's starving. Is that causing hallucinations? That's one of those kind of things you got to kind of try to decide for yourself. But I think this is one of those where it's really short, but I do think it actually works that way. A lot of the cases like this, I'll be like, oh, right when it's getting good, it ends. I think this just kind of helps him reduce any of the fluff of the story at all. And I had a good time with it. A lot of people I've heard complain about the baseball parts. Yes, Stephen King loves baseball, guys. And at the time, it was when Boston Red Sox were first starting to decide that they were going to be a legitimate World Series contender. So I can see why it was on his mind a lot at the time. So if that stuff doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me. Obviously, I love baseball. But those things will... I don't think it'll keep you from liking it, but there are some parts where you're talking more about baseball than you're talking about what's going on in these woods here. But again, you think about this girl that's in this situation. Yeah, she'd want to put her mind on anything other than the horrible predicament that she's found herself in. But I did really enjoy this reread of it. I can't wait to talk about it on Into the Multiverse, because for such a short little book, I think there's lots of things multiverse-based that you're going to have in this book that we get to talk about. And I cannot wait to do it. Me and my kid, I don't have it on me. I guess I left the book in his room when we finished it. We finished The Last Olympian, which is the Percy Jackson, the fifth and final Percy Jackson and the Olympians book. Very happy. He actually said that he felt like the final battle was kind of a letdown. And what he means is like not actually the battle. The whole book is battles, and he actually liked all the battles. He didn't like the final showdown between Percy and the big bad of the series. He thought that could have been done better, and I'm glad that he was able to admit that. Because a lot of times you were just like, whatever, yeah, it was fine. But he actually was like, no, I thought that I wanted something else with that. And I tell him all the time, I read thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of series, and I felt let down with the ending before. He didn't have it, but he actually liked the ending, and he liked the overall book, and he said he'd give the series like a 9.8 out of 10. So he was extremely, extremely happy with it. He just thought that final fight between Percy and the big bad was kind of a letdown. And I said, hey, you know what? It's not going to be the last time that happens to you, but I'm glad that he did really enjoy the series overall. I actually enjoyed it a lot more, like I said. I went into this expecting to be face-palming the whole time, being like, oh, God, I got to go do this again. But no, I had a great, great time with it. So much, in fact, that we went ahead and start the next one. We did go ahead and start the first book in the Heroes of Olympus. This is The Lost Hero. And I'm very excited about this because I think it's doing Jason and the Argonauts. That's very cool, but it is a much longer book. So here, but these are much, much longer new characters, but we've seen some returning characters already, and that's pretty cool. So it feels familiar, but also it feels like, okay, it's not just going to do a reskin. It's not going to do the same story with 3 different heroes this time. So it feels like it is actually growing that world, and it's very, very encouraging. And my youngest is into it. He's actually like it. I was actually kind of concerned because the characters in here are, 16, 17, 18 years old. And I was kind of concerned because that's when Harry Potter kind of lost him, when you get all that teen angst stuff. So I'm hoping that that Riordan doesn't kind of age out my almost 11-year-old here when we get this. But he's having a great time with it up to this point, and it's a very, very good start, and I'm excited about where it's going personally. And then I went ahead and started Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. This is the first book in the Bound and the Broken. I've only got it on Kindle right now. The physical ones are on their way, let's put it that way. But I got this one on digital, and I've been reading about a quarter into it. It's giving me real Faithful and the Fallen meets Wheel of Time vibes. And I mean that just in the beginning of those 2 books. I haven't gotten far enough into this yet to say it's like what happens in all of Wheel of Time or what happens in all of Faith and Fallen. But with the way that Eye of the World and with the way that Malice starts, I see like if you just kind of mash those 2 books together and they had a baby, I feel like that's what you would have here. Because I'm feeling like you got like the 3 friends in this village. They're kind of going through a thing, and there might be a little bit of a magic kind of thing. It's just it's traditional fantasy, guys. It's nothing you haven't read before, but I'm okay with that. I love the traditional fantasy setup. I love the farm boy leaves town, stranger comes to town kind of thing. I love that. I love those things. So I'm quite happy with it so far. I think I know where we're about to head to, but I'm very excited about it. He set up these 3 main characters really, really well so far, and I had a few surprises already when it comes to the whole magic use. And I'll talk about those a little bit more when I get done with the book, probably next week, and I can talk a little bit more in depth about it, because I have already read The Fall, the novella that takes place before this, so I know a little bit about the magic system already, and it's very, very cool. But seeing how it's starting here, I'm like, wow, I didn't see that coming. So I'm excited. I'm excited to continue with that. And that leads me, guys, into what am I going to read? Obviously, I'm going to finish Blood and Fire. That's going to be really what I work on this week. And then all I got left for the month, guys, is The Way of Eden by Mr. Philip Chase. So I'm excited to finally get to this. I feel like I'm the last one of all the other booktuber brethren who have got to this. So that's okay. That's okay. Better late than never. I'm excited to get to it and see what I think about it, because I've heard really, really great things so far, and I can't wait to talk to Philip about it when I am done, hopefully. We're going to be taking the kids on vacation this weekend. I think next Sunday is when we leave, so that might eat into my reading time one way or the other. I don't know. I might have more, I might have less, because you have more downtime, but you also got your kids. That's the thing on a vacation, so you never ever really know. Let's go ahead and talk about this week on the channel. I kind of talked about it there for a minute. I did get a stomach bug. It's actually kind of taken over our whole house. First, my youngest got it, passed it to me, and it floored me. It floored me for like 3+ days. I never take sick days at work, guys, and I had to. And it's the first time in 2+ years with this company that I've actually taken a sick day. So it was actually like weird for me. But it needed it. It was one of those things where I slept almost like the whole day. And I just basically made it from the bed to the sofa, back to the bed, to either read, watch TV. That's pretty much all I did, and just, drink your fluids and stuff. And now, unfortunately, I'm over it, and now my oldest son has it. So hopefully we can get all this out, and it runs its cycle through the house and out before our vacation next weekend. That is really the plan. So the content on the channel was slow going this week. That's why this weekly update is coming out on a Sunday, because I just got so behind on everything. I did my Talk About Nothing with Alex Nieves on Monday, and literally, I think 3 hours after we finished that, I started feeling sick. So that was really just kind of ate into all the plans I had for the rest of the week, and I didn't even get to do the Bag of Bones review until, gosh, was it Friday? And that took everything I had, you know. So it's one of those things, like, even after you recover from it, you're still dehydrated. No matter how much Gatorade you suck down, you're still going to be dehydrated after something like that, and it just wipes you out. You just have, like, no energy. And I said, I don't have very much energy to get on the camera. So I said, hey, yeah, that's cool. Those plans, we'll just kind of wait. But I did get, obviously, to Talk About Nothing with Alex. It was a great time. It was really, really fun talking to him about all kinds of things. We talked about everything from Mistborn Era 2 to what happened to The Mandalorian. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun having that conversation. And we kept our bitching about our sports teams very, very minimal. We tried to do that before we went live and kind of after, because we know you guys didn't want to hear us complain about those two teams. And then Bag of Bones, I think Bag of Bones is one of Stephen King's books that has gotten misrepresented. A lot of people always put it down like at the bottom of their King rankings now, and that's kind of why I wanted to kind of highlight in that review, is that I didn't really get that. I think that a lot of people have kind of replaced it in their memory with that horrible adaptation they did on A&E, that miniseries with Pierce Brosnan. At least that's my theory, because I'm like, I don't see what's so bad about this at all, because I don't know why people dislike this book so much. I had a really, really good time with it. I think it's on par with most of his 90s stuff. Like I said, I wouldn't put it up there quite with like Gerald's Game or Dolores Claiborne or Needful Things, but it's still on par with like Rose Madder and Insomnia, that kind of stuff. I feel like it was really on par with those. So if you didn't like those, I don't know how you'll feel about this one, but I was fine with it. I had a good time revisiting it, and I think it's very, very haunting, you know, and it really does his forte of dealing with loss and grief, and, you know, how do you move on after you've become widowed. And that's the things that he just nails. He really does. And then he wraps a nice little ghost story into a love story around it. It is really, really touching. So King continues to be the master of that, and then, of course, going completely batshit insane by the end. That's what he does. So I think it's a really, really good book. Wouldn't be my top 10 or anything, but I'd put it firmly in the middle. So I hope you guys will check it out. I did a video over on Mike's media reviews talking about, so I got him over here, so about Star Trek. I finally, while I was sick, guys, I'll talk about it in TV and movie talk, I did finally watch Picard Season 3, and I'm happy about it. So I did a video over there reviewing that season of Picard and talking about why it has exceeded every expectation I ever had for Star Trek The Next Generation reunion. It was absolutely amazing. I'll talk about it more in a minute, but you want to check that out over there, because I wanted to talk about it a little more in length than just the TV and movie talk one. But that's all I did there. Let's talk about a little bit of next week plans, guys. Obviously, I do have some things kind of lined up here. Christopher Rocchio, author of this little series called Sun Eater, might have heard of it. I'm going to be doing a live conversation with him on Monday. There is a huge, huge announcement that we're going to be making together. I'll be giving you the details of all that. I know I will go ahead and tell you guys what it is not. It is not a cover reveal. I mentioned this in that live stream with Alex. A lot of people speculated that it is a cover reveal for Book 6. No, it is something much more impressive than that. So I hope you guys will join us. We'll be doing that live. We'll be doing all kinds of things in that conversation. That'll be happening Monday night, 7 p.m. Houston time. Hope you guys will join us, because there's going to be some really, really cool stuff happening in there, and I'm very, very excited to talk with Christopher about that. We actually talked right before I started recording this, just getting all of our ducks in a row here, making sure we got everything cool. Decided it would be fun to do it live just for the whole anticipation of it all. So we're excited to do that. I'm excited to tell you guys, because this is something I've actually been sitting on for about 4 months now. It's been very, very hard to keep it to myself. So excited that it's finally going to be happening. I'll be doing my Iron Gold review before I get into starting the Dark Age here pretty soon. I also want to make sure I get that review done before I talk to Ben and Aaron over at Howler Pod to do our spoiler talk for Iron Gold. We haven't actually nailed that date down yet. Need to say, when you get sick, guys, and you're just that wiped out, you don't even open your email inbox. You just basically want the world to go away. So I feel like I'm a full week behind on everything. So when I get that date lined up, I'll let you guys know. And then I'll be doing my TBR for May of 2023, which is going to be a little shorter than usual. Not in page count, but in book total, because I do got some chonkers coming in the month of May, and we're going to talk about those in that video. But that's really all I've got in my plans and stuff with books, guys. Do want to talk about some TV and movie talk stuff before I go. Obviously, it's about Picard Season 3. Like I said, I did a full review over Mike's Media Reviews if you want to hear me talk in depth about what made this really, really good. But yeah, I was sick, and I needed something to watch, and everyone just completely flipping out. The people that I trusted, that I know value the things about Star Trek that I value, were like, you've got to do it. And I know I said like 3 weeks ago, I think 3 weekly updates ago, where I said just like, who cares if they had one good one? I just, I need them to prove to me that this is the new normal. I said, you know what, screw it. I'll just go ahead and check it out. We got Paramount Plus for like $10 for a year. I have it. So I said, why not? I'll go ahead and watch it. And guys, I watched the whole thing. It was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. It was everything that I wanted the Disney Star Wars sequels to be. It gave me all of my main cast members coming back together. It treated them with respect. It tied up loose ends that I didn't know that I would ever get resolutions to from all the way back in Season 7 of Star Trek The Next Generation. It made Star Trek Nemesis a better movie in hindsight, which I thought was impossible. It tied up everything just so wonderfully well, and it gave these characters the send-off that they deserve that Nemesis didn't give them. I would say that Nemesis, they didn't plan on Nemesis being the end. It just bombed at the box office, and they said, well, we're not going to be funding these Star Trek movies anymore. It's over. It's over. So it's just one of those things, guys, where I had given up, when Picard Season 1 came out, and I was like, this is crap. And I just decided they're never going to give me the Star Trek The Next Generation reunion that I wanted, even though all the cast members were on board for it. Well, they finally figured it out, guys, and I have to thank God for Terry Matalas for coming together and making this and giving the Next Gen fans exactly what we've been begging for. And guys, this was an emotional roller coaster. I think out of this 10 episodes, 7 of them, I was misty-eyed, and one of them, the last 10 minutes of episode 9, Toy Story 3 all over again. I was a mess. It was so good, guys. It was absolutely incredible. If you liked The Next Gen at all, you have to watch it. It will just make you think. Like, if you were like me and you were disappointed in the Disney Star Wars sequels about how they treat the legacy characters and they didn't give you anything that you wanted, you got to watch Picard Season 3. You don't have to. That's a great thing about it, guys. You don't have to watch Picard Season 1 and 2 at all. You can start Season 3, Episode 1. It is basically Star Trek The Next Generation Season number 8. 25 years later. It's wonderful, guys. It was absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy that you guys kept railing on me to watch it. That's got a lot of people asking me, am I going to watch Strange New Worlds? Look, I'm more open to it now than I was before. I still think, look, a lot of this, I feel almost like Star Trek has been mishandled in this modern variation in some ways more than Disney has mishandled Star Wars. So I still am very, very apprehensive. Look, I know Terry Matalas actually loves Star Trek. He absolutely worships Star Trek. So he was going to handle that with care. I just don't know I don't know very much about the showrunner of Strange New Worlds and stuff, but I've had a lot of people, same people, that have told me, no, it is actually respectful to Gene Roddenberry. So I'm considering it. It's not going to be anytime soon, maybe. But 3 weeks ago I said I wasn't going to watch Picard Season 3, and I just did. So, you never know. You never know. So I never say never with these things, guys. I never say never. But I'm more open to it now than I was 3 weeks ago, which is quite impressive. So here's my hope. Give Terry Matalas the keys. Apparently they don't have anything else lined up with him at Paramount. Give him the Star Trek keys. Let him be the architect. Let him run that whole thing over there, guys. Please, I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Let him do whatever he wants to do with Star Trek. Don't let him get away. Because someone else is going to snap that guy up after the success of this. And we're going to be stuck with Kurtzman doing Star Trek, and I'm not ever going to be happy. But guys, before I go, there is one quick thing, gaming talk-wise, I want to talk about. I have this thing where everyone's like, are you going to play this new game that's coming out? And I'm like, well, I got this backlog. Well, I finally am getting to one of those backlogs. I started playing Super Mario Odyssey. Here's the thing, is we moved my kid's Switch to the downstairs TV. because a new Zelda's coming out, and we aren't going to go up there and play that in the kids' playroom. So we got real greedy and said, let's move that down to the big TV. With his blessing, of course, he's quite fine playing it on the, the 85-inch television. He's quite fine with that. So we brought that downstairs, and so I'm finally playing Super Mario Odyssey for the first time, and it's just one of those things. It's amazing to think just how consistent Nintendo stays with their first-party games. Mario and Zelda especially. They're just always great. And so I know I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey 5+ years later than everyone else, but it's just so much fun. It's so much fun. You just you can basically throw your hat and become like anything you throw your hat at. It just basically turns the game into going from like a Mario game to playing like all these mini games. It's just so time consuming, just like most great video games are. But I'm having a blast with it, and it's so much fun. And my kid is just having a blast because he maxed out everything you can get on. He got 999 little mini moons or whatever it is you're collecting. He's done everything you can do in the game, so he's having a great time, like I do when he's playing an old classic game, and I'm just sitting there like the scholar telling him, you have to do this, this, and this. And he's getting the kick out now that the roles are reversed, and he is the Obi-Wan and I am the student. He's having a good time with that. But it's good. It's good family time, when one of us aren't sick. It really, really is. So, guys, that is my week. Again, I know that it was a kind of a weird scheduling-wise, and I thank you guys for being patient. I received a lot a message, get well soon message from you guys. I do appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. And take your vitamins, drink your fluids, stay healthy, guys, because apparently this is going around. This is the stomach virus. I know that Philip told me he just got past it recently. So it's a thing that's going around right now. So hey, watch out. Take care of yourselves. And guys, drop in the comments. Let me know what you're watching, reading, listening to, and playing, like always. And have yourselves an awesome, awesome week.